Good afternoon. Today we will be going over section 1.8, algebra equations. Once again, don't forget that you can pause at any time, write down the information, and then go ahead and press play and you'll continue to hear my voice explaining the process. Okay. At the top you'll see that I have 4 different equations. The first one is just a numerical equation full of numbers. The last 3 are algebraic equations. And what makes it algebraic is that it has a variable in each equation. Now remember, a variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. Okay? Now in expressions, we were not able to solve unless we were given what a was. So we could use substitution. But with an equation, we are going to find ways in order to actually find out what the variable represents. Okay, we have 4 key terms here. The first one's equation, a mathematical sentence that contains an equal sign, much like an expression. It has numbers and variables and operations, but the difference is that the equation does have an equal sign, where an expression does not. An equal sign is a symbol that represents equality. Always looks like this. There's our equal sign. When you solve an equation, what you're doing is you're trying to find the answer to the variable. And you know you have solved the equation correctly if you can plug it back into the equation and find the solution. And it ends up being true. And a solution is the value of the variable. So what you actually solve and find x or k or m to be equal to. Okay? So we're going to start off pretty easy. We're going to identify the solution of each equation from the list given. And what they're doing is they're giving you 3 options that could be possible answers for your equation. Now we know an equation is true. We have found the solution if we can plug one of these numbers into the equation and end up with 17 at the end, making it the equation true. So we're just going to go ahead and start picking numbers. So I'm going to start with 7. And I'm going to try 9 plus 7. And what you're trying to decide is, does it equal 17? Well, in this case, it does not. 16 is what I will get when I take 9 plus 7, which does not equal 17. So we know 7 is not a good option. Okay, then we can try 8. 9 plus 8. I want to know if that equals 17. When I add 9 plus 8, I actually get 17. And since 17 equals 17, we know our correct solution is 8. So W equals 8. And I can stop at this point because there can only be one solution to each equation. Same thing for part B. I'm just going to start picking numbers. So I'm going to start with 14. I can do 14 minus 11, and I want to know if that equals 5. Well, 14 minus 11 is 3. 3 does not equal 5, so that is not a solution. 14 will not work for us. Okay, try 15. 15 minus 11. I want to know if that will equal, whoops, this isn't working very well for me here. I want to know if that will equal 5. 15 minus 11 is 4. 4 does not equal 5, so that cannot be our solution, meaning our solution should be 16, but we're going to check it just to make sure. Oh, excuse me, I just wrote the wrong number. 16 minus 11. I'm going to know if that equals 5. 16 minus 11 is 5. So we know we found our solution. And notice how our solution is not 5. Our solution is the number we plugged in for that letter. So D equals 16. Okay, so the first type they're going to give you, once again, give you answers, and you can plug them in and see if they work. Now these you're going to solve mentally, meaning we're not trying to make you understand the process of equality yet. We'll get to that later on in the year. You're trying to find numbers that will work, that will fit into these equations and give you the correct answer. So for the first one, I want to know 25 minus what would be 20. Okay, so if you're thinking through this process, we know we have to take away. What are we going to take away from 25 to get 20? Well, we're going to take away 5. Okay, So we're going to test this as our solution. You can always check to make sure you did it right. So I'm going to do 25 minus 5, and I want to know, does it equal 20? Well, 25 minus 25 minus 5 does equal 20, so we know we did it correct. Our solution is true. Down in part D, remember this is a multiplication problem. This actually means 12 times k equals 24. So I'm trying to decide what can I multiply 12 by in order to get 24. Now if you remember your multiplication facts, this should be a pretty easy one because we know 12 times 2, so k would have to equal 2, equals 24. And once again, you can check it. Multiply 12 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And is that what I'm supposed to get? Well, yes it is, so I know I did that one correctly as well. K equals 2. We're going to try this again. Now we're trying to find a division problem. Now these end up being a little trickier because you have to pay attention to where that division is happening. So I'm trying to figure out what divided by 3 equals 6. Now if you think about it, the opposite of division is multiplication. So you can try something like this, see if it will work. What's 6 times 3? Well, 6 times 3 equals 18. Okay, see if it works. Once again, it's the power of checking, okay? So I want to know if 18 divided by 3, does it equal 6? Take it off to the side if you can't do it in your head. 3 doesn't go into 1, but 3 goes into 18 6 full times, okay? So D equals 18 because 18 plugged in for D divided by 3 does equal 6. And the last one you'll see, it's flipped around, but that doesn't make any difference. If it confuses you, go ahead and write it the other way. 6 times B equals 54. It's still just a multiplication equation. So I'm trying to figure out 6 times what equals B. Okay, now once again, if you know your multiplication tables, you know 6 times 9 equals 54, which means B would have to equal 9. All right, so this is the end of lesson 1.8, solving equations. Once again, this is a brief overview. We're going to go much more in depth in solving equations later on in the year. I hope this helps. Don't forget, you can pause, you can rewind, you can look over sections again if you need extra help. If you come in tomorrow and your notes are all completed from this section, you can go ahead and start your homework in class. So make sure you bring those notes with you in your notebook to show me tomorrow if you completed them. All right, have a good night.